we're going to solve a radical equation. The square root of x minus 12 equals 5 minus the square root of x plus 3. When solving a radical equation, first we need to get one of the square roots by itself. Here that is done for us. The left side of the equation is only a radical. Once that's done, we can then square both sides of the equation. Squaring a square root on the left side eliminates the square root, leaving us with x minus 12. On the right side, we have to either use our binomial formula because we have 5 and then minus a square root that we're squaring, so two terms that we're squaring, or we can FOIL it out. So reminder that if you choose to FOIL it out, you write it out twice and FOIL from there. I'm going to use the binomial squared formula because that is the more efficient way to do it. So that formula says we're going to square the 5. We get 25. And then the sign we have minus 2 times 5 times the square root. So 2 times 5 is 10. Our square root is x plus 3. And then plus the square root squared. So our last term, that square root of x plus 3, and squaring that. Cleaning that up a bit on the right side. If we square our square root, just like earlier, they cancel out, and we're left with x plus 3. From there, we can now clean that up some more because now we have like terms. We have 25 and 3 is 28. And then we have an x term, and then we still have a radical in there. From there, we need to get everything but the radical on the other side. So we're going to subtract the 28 and subtract the x. So the x's actually cancel out on both sides, and we end up with negative 40 equals negative 10 times our square root. At this point, if we want to, we can square both sides. However, because if we get rid of that minus 10 by dividing, in this case, it'll turn out nice. So that's kind of my rule. If I divide by that number, I'm multiplying the square root by, well, both sides turn out to be a nice number, then I'm going to do it. If one side's going to be a fraction, I'm going to leave it be. So here, if we divide both sides by negative 10, we get a nice pretty 4 equals a square root. So now we have our square root by itself once again. And so we get to square both sides as we did in the first step. It's a little easier this time because when we square 4, we get 16. And when we square our square root, they cancel out, leaving us with x plus 3. We finally got rid of all the square roots, and we can simply solve for x, in this case subtracting 3. And we get 13 is equal to x. We're not quite done because with these radical equations, we have to check our answers. Sometimes we get extraneous solutions that don't actually work all the way back in the original. So we need to check that 13 answer. So 13 minus 12 under our square root of the original equation equals 5 minus the square root of 13 plus 3. See if we get the same thing on both sides. Well, 13 minus 12 is 1. 13 plus 3 is 16. Square root of 1 is 1. Square root of 16 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. So 1 equals 1. That checks out. So we do get to keep our solution of 13. Remember, if it hadn't worked out, then we would have said there was no solution to this equation.